Welcome everyone to the 13th episode. I'm joined by my fellow Instagram influencer, Maddy Brennan.
Hello.
If you don't mind,
Yes.
flip over the hourglass.
Away we go.
And of course, we have to start with a quick cheers.
Cheers.
We're drinking a little bit of white wine. Now, I say you are my fellow Instagram influencer because you have Shy Down in Chi-Town. So tell us about what that is, and then we'll kick on with the show.
Yes. So Chow Down in Chi-Town, I started it right after graduating from Iowa, moving back to the area, and I was like, I got to get out of my parents' house. I got to go do things. So started that account to video and take pictures of all the restaurants I go to. So
there's definitely no shortage in Chicago.
No shortage. Yes. And I was always the person beforehand too that would not let anyone eat and just take pictures and post them on my personal story. So then this was a good way. Now I'm I have a real excuse why.
This is actually a formal request
Yes.
that I'm making now to the table.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, great. Perfect place to begin, as always, is how we met. So if you don't mind sharing, how did we meet?
We met through Jackie. You came to visit her at the University of Iowa. Jackie and I met at the University of Iowa, became friends. And then I think it was probably your first weekend going to visit her our freshman year, your sophomore year. So,
yeah.
But then I have a moment where I knew we became friends.
That might be news to me.
It might be news to you. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it was a couple years ago. It was at your and Jackie's second apartment, when you were living together.
Okay.
And I was over, and Jackie and I had been cooking dinner, and we were just chilling, hanging out, and you came to hang out with us. And then it was during the holidays, and I was like, oh, I have a holiday party to go to. It's an ugly sweater party. I don't have anything to wear. And then you were like, well, what about what you're wearing right now? And then in my head, I was like, oh, we're friends.
Yeah.
This is not my friend's boyfriend. We're friends now.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad I could resolve your outfit dilemma in the moment.
You really helped. Yeah. I think I threw out the shirt the second I went home, too. So I think that was, it was a good call.
You made the decision there.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that was, 6 years later? So we were on shaky ground, I would say, for the first.
Wow, were we?
What is that? 4 years of Iowa, 2 years after? Yeah, so.
Yeah.
It was looking kind of rough, but then...
We made it through.
Yeah, we made it through. We ended up having a epiphany or whatever moment.
Moment.
We broke the glass ceiling, some would say.
Wow.
But yeah, so University of Iowa, of course, that's when I first met you, of course, because you were with Jackie at the University of Iowa, both freshmen. You lived in a different dorm, though. So how did you two meet? How did you and Jackie meet?
We met, definitely not through the dorms. Jackie lived in the nicest, newest dorm at Iowa, and the week before we moved in, the New York Times came out with a list of the top 10 worst dorms in the country, and the one I lived in was number 2 on the list. So we did not live in the same dorm. We met at a frat party, I think, honestly, mutual friends of, I don't know, we all met, and then we solidified our friendship by going to a volleyball game together, and then we were friends ever since.
And you guys won?
Honestly, I don't remember.
That means you didn't
win. The friendship won.
No, that means you didn't win. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Yeah.
But the dorms that you were in,
yeah.
I heard recently that you actually requested to live in.
That's true.
So
yeah.
What's up with that?
So the other dorm, I was placed in one dorm that was really far from campus, and you could not walk anywhere to campus really. It's called the Mayflower. I think you needed to take the Mayflower to get there. It was really hard to get there. So it's a nice dorm. I don't want to disparage for anyone who liked living there. But I just wanted to be closer to where the action was, where all other people would be. And so then I was got on the phone and went a little Karen and was I'd really like to switch dorms. And then I think the person on the phone was all right, you want to switch dorms? Okay. I'm going to give you the second worst dorm in America. So there we go.
Yeah. So you ended up making an executive decision to say, we're going to be in this dorm that I think was the last year, right?
It was literally, yes, it was the last year of the dorm. And when our last week of school, freshman year, second semester, they took us on an underground tour of the dorm, and they made us wear hard hats the whole time. And because it was half the building was condemned, there were cockroaches everywhere at all times. It was really crazy. And then they blew it up, literally blew it up, I think 3 weeks after we moved out.
Did you see, I guess, what was your takeaway in doing the tour with the hard hat time? Were you well, first of all, were you why are we doing this? Or was it something that just felt natural? You're like, oh yeah, this is like my rite of passage.
I think I like wanted to feel a little vindicated and like telling people like I feel like other dorms were not bad but not really nice like the one Jackie lived in, and so I was like, no, ours is the worst. And then like we took this tour and I was like, yeah, like there's no discounting, like this was the worst one. So
And then
but I made a lot of amazing friends through the dorms, so yeah, it all worked out for the best.
the dorm life is definitely a one-time experience. There's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it. Yeah.
Were you there 2 years?
1 year, just,
just 1
freshman
year.
year.
Okay.
So yeah. Yeah, I think the first time a cockroach like crawled out of the shower drain while I was showering, I was like, I'm never living in a dorm again. Like, I'm done. This is over forever. So yeah.
Meanwhile, Jackie's is like state of the art, like
gorgeous.
Yeah, beautiful. But she also only lived 1 year because then I think you guys ended up living the third year, junior year?
We lived junior year together. Yeah. So that was fun. So yeah, but just for one semester though, because then we both went abroad.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were abroad.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess actually that's a great segue. So you ended up studying in, was it just Barcelona?
Yeah, just Barcelona.
What was your experience? Why Barcelona, and what'd you think of it?
I think I wanted some place that was like kind of just easy to get to. Like if I wanted to go anywhere else, travel throughout Europe, like it was going to be a direct flight anywhere I wanted. And then I don't know, honestly, I think I might have been inspired by the Cheetah Girls movie. Like I think like deep down that was my main motivation. I didn't know it. I loved it though. It was really, it's a gorgeous city, and like it was really cool getting to check out a lot of Spain, and yeah, it was great.
You were there during a pretty pivotal moment in its history with the Catalonian revolts and everything. Like, what was that like?
I feel like, not to be like cliche or like I'm a historian or anything, but I feel like a lot of times like when you're living through history, you don't even realize it because it's kind of normal. So there were days where like one of our campuses at the school I was going to, they would email us and be like, you can't come to class today. There's like a really huge protest. We've heard it's going to be violent. And I'd just be like, all right, like, let's go. Like, I'll go tomorrow, whatever. It's fine. And then like, I look back and I'm like, oh, that's crazy. That's so wild to.
They were trying to like dismantle the government and
Yes, it was very contentious. And then, I definitely had like a couple cab drivers while I was there, like trying to be like, you have to be pro Catalonia. You have to be and I was like,
C.
Okay. Like, I was like, yeah, I think I said C. I was like, yes, I need you to drop me off. Like, we just gotta make it to our destination. So, yeah.
Wow. Do you have any, like, crazy experience or story of witnessing anything, or was it pretty, like, abstracted away from you for the most part?
I feel like, it was pretty distant. There was one time I went on a hike, at, like, Montserrat. It's, like, this big mountain area. And did not know, unbeknownst to me, there was a huge protest going on while I was hiking, and these protesters like lined the whole side of the mountain, like banning arms kind of thing, like in yellow. That was like the pro Catalonia color, and we like did not continue on with the hike. Like we got there and they were like, come join arms with us, and I was like, you know what, like we should probably go back. So yeah,
like love what you're doing for you.
I'm like literally rock on, but I don't know. Like this is so
so for I know Barcelona is obviously a big tourist attraction. A lot of people love to go there. It's a beautiful city.
Yeah.
I mean, you spent there, I would imagine 3-4 months, something along those lines?
I think it was like 4 months-ish, yeah.
What would you say is something underrated or something that people generally don't visit when they go? I mean, usually people will go max like 5 days or something, but if you could throw in like a little insider scoop, is there anything that comes up?
I'm nothing if not an insider in Barcelona. I got really lucky. This apartment I was living in was near, there's like plazas everywhere in Europe and Spain in particular too. And I was near this place called Plaza del Sol, so like Plaza of the Sun. And it was gorgeous, and like no tourists ever went there because it was just like there's nothing to do there other than like eat. There's a ton of local little restaurants, little bars, little bookshops, like a lot of cute things. So I feel like if you want to have a little glimpse of like Barcelona felt really local, even though it was a really big city. So I felt like that's a good local experience if you want to just people watch.
Nice. Yeah, I know right now they're going through their own tumultuous time with the tourism and the water guns and whatnot. So
the water guns.
They have their own issues, but
they're staying strapped with the Nerf guns for sure. I think maybe
that's a possible capital investment for Chi Down and Chi Town. I don't know if you're ever planning on going international.
Oh my
Or like,
God.
do you ever do restaurants internationally, or are you only Chicago?
I definitely do travel eats. So that's a good,
Mm.
I could go back. I
Yeah, yeah,
could,
yeah.
yeah, buy a water gun, get some patatas bravas,
Yeah,
and we're good to
exactly.
go. Yeah. Good
So
point.
yeah, that's great. And from a obviously you were studying abroad there,
Yeah.
so you were a journalism and social work major.
Yeah.
Was it? I guess what was the emphasis while you were there? Were you doing one like more classes geared towards one or the other, or?
More journalism. So I actually did a mini study abroad for social work too.
Oh.
It's like a winter, I don't know what they call it, winter term something,
Mm.
during winter break. So it was just 3.5 weeks, but I was in, Pondicherry, India. So
Mm.
like focused on social work while I was there. And then, yeah, and then Spain was definitely more journalism. So.
What was your experience like in India? Like, was it more like hands-on? I imagine it was less like classroom oriented.
Yeah, because it was such a short amount of time, we were really lucky. We got to pair up with these amazing NGOs that like operate in the town we were in
Mm-hmm.
and kind of shadow them, I guess, for the time we were there. And then we're like kind of low level interns in a way and like would just do whatever they told us to. But it was an amazing learning experience for sure. And just to work with an international nonprofit was really interesting and like just a country that's very different from ours. And
Mm-hmm.
how I was working at a place for is a school for kids with disabilities and
Mm.
just like the differences, but also so many similarities and like that kind of work. And yeah, it was really cool.
Would you say that was the impetus for you to gear more towards nonprofit work? I know that's what you're working in now, so.
That is what I do now. Yeah, I did when I originally picked journalism and then social work as my two majors. A lot of people were like, those don't really add up.
I feel like they do actually.
I felt like they did, so thank you. I'm kind of doing that now. I do marketing for a nonprofit.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, definitely the time in India was really impactful and did make me feel like I was on the right path. But I also kind of always wanted to work in nonprofit, like the nonprofit sector, I think.
Mm.
So
Just more generally.
yeah, like not any particular niche area or population or anything, but just, yeah.
Hmm. For those that might be interested in volunteer work or just being more plugged into their local community, is there anything that you recommend? I know that you're pretty active. You had done some volunteer events actually with Jackie and Misericordia, but are there
Mhm.
other events? Like, how do you recommend generally if people are like, hey, I want to do more, I want to be more involved in social work just generally? Is there
Yeah.
anything that you recommend?
Um, I mean, this is probably a lame answer, but Google, like
Okay.
really just like Googling, if you have a specific population you want to support or work with,
Mm.
there's a ton of amazing nonprofits in Chicago and I mean, obviously just everywhere too. So Google, if you know people in nonprofits, like we're always taking volunteers where I work. So like I'm all like, if anyone's like, I want to volunteer, I'm like, okay, like I will sign you up like with our group tomorrow.
Yeah.
So like
We will
totally.
see you at 9 a.m. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I feel like I would say like pick a population you want to support
Hmm.
and then kind of go from there, I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Kind of use the end of what you're looking for to then kind of select.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do imagine that it can be a little like even for me, I know that I want to do even more volunteer work and whatnot,
Mhm.
and one of the things that I'm thinking about is okay, well, like should I look at some of the more renowned names that are probably have like better funding, or should I
Yeah.
try and find something that's a little bit more local, but then also like how do I find them, you know? So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, most places are doing good stuff. And so
Mhm.
it's like never a bad thing to support any kind of nonprofit that, if you do a little research, believe in their mission, like that's amazing.
Mhm.
But I do think smaller nonprofits, yeah, they just don't have the notoriety, of course. So they're not getting as many donations, as many like volunteers, just whatever. So it is really amazing to support like local nonprofits that are led by people in the community that they're supporting. I think that's always really important.
Mhm. So the work that you're doing now is more on the marketing side?
Yes, yeah. Which seems weird, like to market, like, I
Hey,
don't know, nonprofits. I don't
I'm
know,
asking
but
how I
it's,
can kind of connect. See, so.
yes. So I help do their website, social media, any kind of like press releases or media connections, and also just like flyers and getting our name out there. Like a big part of what I do is
Mhm.
helping fundraise, like, so we are getting our name out there, so we're getting money. It's not a huge nonprofit, so it's really important that people know that we're there and what we're doing and why it's really important to the community that we work in. So yeah, kind of like making us known is sort of my job.
I mean, it seems like this would be a great time to plug. Like, what is it that you do?
Yeah, yeah. So the population we work with it's called Lawrence Hall. It's amazing nonprofit. I really believe in it. And
You said it's Lawrence Hall?
Lawrence Hall, yeah.
Like LAW?
Yeah, like the name. It's on one of our main campuses is on Lawrence Avenue.
I only say that because today is the feast day of St. Lawrence, which is very interesting.
Wow,
But
what
anyway,
a little coincidence.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So Lawrence Hall.
Lawrence Hall. And we have 7 core programs, but it's mostly youth, family, and community oriented. So that's like who we're helping. And who we work with every day. So there's a lot of different things we do. We have a creative therapies program. We have a foster care program, a therapeutic day school, a residential setting, transitional and independent living, workforce development, community wellness. It's like, yeah, so it's a lot of different things, but it's a lot of really important things. So yeah.
Is it primarily geared towards people in the local like neighborhood?
Yeah.
North side of Chicago?
No, so we have actually we have a our 71st Street campus is in the South Shore neighborhood, so we're really involved with the South Shore community there. And then our Francisco campus is up in like Lincoln Square area, so that campus though actually has people from all over Chicago coming to it. So
wow, that's very cool. How did were you connected with them previously, or is this something you recently came in contact with?
No, I actually interned for them my summer before senior year of college. So I interned and had a great internship, really enjoyed it. And then once I graduated from college, I traveled for a bit, came back, was like, I need a job. And then my boss during the internship reached out and was like, hey, like, we need someone for just 2 months. Like, do you want to do this? And I was like, oh my God, yes, that's perfect. Yeah. And I've been there ever since. So it's
longest 2 months ever.
Longest 2 months ever, but it's been a good 2 months. So yeah.
That's awesome. And it's good to see that there's like a little bit of continuity too, where you weren't going in not knowing anything. Like you already had
it was
at least
nice.
Some connection.
Yeah, to have kind of a baseline knowledge of what I was getting myself into. So any small nonprofit, you wear a lot of different hats. A lot of days you're like, I don't know, like yesterday one of my jobs was like hauling backpacks to and from the whole facility, like filled with supplies. So it was, I don't know.
Like that wasn't on my job description.
It's not, but like we're all happy to do it.
But it is,
So yeah.
I'm sure it makes it easier too when you have just like this mission of like help people.
Yeah.
And then the way that obviously the form in which that or like comes to fruition can vary, right? Whether it's, I don't know, like on some days I imagine it's much more like on your computer actually doing like the website marketing stuff, but then on other days it seems like it's also just more like hands-on practical, like move these backpacks.
Yeah.
I imagine, right?
Yeah. No, it's kind of anything and everything that we need to do, but it's all to support our youth and our families, and just they are incredible and amazing, and I just really believe in like if we give people opportunities, like they can soar. So it's just supporting people through that, and
Yeah, one of the great programs that I touched on a little bit earlier was Misericordia.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one that I first came in contact with actually because you had invited Jackie. But I've heard about it more now actually recently.
Oh, cool.
Ahmed was actually, I think through Claire, his girlfriend, was hosting this Misericordia like brunch. Maybe like a week or two after you guys had done your volunteer event.
Funny,
so it was pretty coincidental there. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it seems like it's a great program. Do you want to share a little bit more about it? How did you find out about it?
Sure. Yeah. So it's, I'm not great at speaking about it because I don't work there, so I don't have the elevator pitches down. But it's a place, it's a residential setting for adults and I think some children as well with disabilities. So it's a place where you can go and if you have a disability, you become a resident there and you can live there the rest of your life. And it's really has a beautiful mission of just making sure people with disabilities, thrive and like have beautiful lives that they're proud of and that they enjoy every single day and are happy and fulfilled and have purpose. And it's been a really beautiful place. My mom found it. My brother Connor has autism, and she's always kind of been like, where are places that can support him in his life? And she heard about Misericordia, I think through their bakery. They have an amazing bakery. And
We tried going. Unfortunately, it was closed.
Okay.
But I do want to go because I've heard. I mean, the reviews are like
it's
all
really
very
good.
positive.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people, well, a lot of the residents work there too. Which is great. So yeah, so I think she was like, I don't know, bought some brownies one time and was like, this is cool. And then looked into it, and she's been an amazing advocate, volunteer, does so much for them for years. So because of her, I got into it, and then I've been slowly dragging a lot of people with me to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and Jackie shared it was a great, event. You guys went with Vic as well. Like it seems like you guys had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we went with Vic and we went with Brooke too, and it
Brooke as
was
well.
a day. They were putting on a trial Special Olympics before the state Special Olympics, and so any residents who participate in Special Olympics like could go and kind of like test out what they were gonna do before they went to Illinois State Special Olympics. So we went and were like kind of paired with different residents, and we all kind of like, I feel like, bonded each with like one resident probably. And
Nice.
yeah, it was really, really fun. We were all really sweating a lot. Like the games were intense, but they were fun. But
It was
yeah,
your own personal Olympics
I
too.
I felt like I deserved a gold medal at
Yeah.
the end. I was like, I worked hard. So
I
no,
bet.
it was good.
When are the Illinois State Special Olympics?
They already happened. So they
Okay.
happened in June, and they're normally down in Normal actually. I think. Yeah, most years. So, and my brother is very involved, and actually my whole family has been involved forever. My aunt has worked there for like, I don't know, like 40 years probably, or maybe even more. So yeah, my family's been very involved. So
And you said your brother is now going to be a part of the program.
yes. So he got accepted, and is going to move into Misericordia soon. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. So it looks like he's going to be in his own eventually Special Olympics trials.
potentially, yes.
What
yeah.
sport would he go in for, do you think?
He really loves, he's not competitive, but he likes sports a lot. So I don't know, he does basketball and track and football and golf right now. I think those are all of his sports. So maybe he'll keep those up. Maybe they'll have, I don't know, they have new ones. They have a huge pool there. So like maybe he'll get into some, I don't know. Yeah. But
So he's hoop dreams. He could do like track.
Yeah.
Is he like a sprinter, long distance?
no, he is not a sprinter. He has at multiple track events, like when we're like, go Connor, like cheering him on, he'll like stop dead in the track and like wave to us. So he does not have the competitiveness it needs to like, really go win the gold medals, but he does love to get medals. So
He's just too powerful.
Listen, he'd be unstoppable if he had that competitive drive.
It reminds me of like that scene in The Incredibles at the end when Dash is running and he has to like mediate between being in the front or like in the back.
Yeah.
And that came up actually recently because of the turkey, like the big meme of like the turkey shooter in the Olympics who.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
That he was like, oh yeah, he didn't want to get in. He didn't want to come in first because that would have been too obvious. Like he had to get second. Yeah.
That man was wild. Yeah. I love the Olympics, so it's fun to watch.
Have you been keeping up?
A little bit. Yeah.
Is there any particular sport that you watch, or just like in general, you just like supporting the U.S. or?
In general, I feel like I'm never more patriotic than when the Olympics are on. I feel like I'm like, go USA. I love gymnastics.
Simone Biles, of course.
Simone Biles, the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Obsessed with her. She'll be in Chicago more often now because her husband is going to play for the Bears. So maybe we'll all see her. Maybe we'll all become friends.
Yeah, maybe we'll see her at Federales.
Yeah. Just doing ice shots. Yeah. Maybe. I love her. And the guy on the pommel horse this year on the men's gymnastics team. Did you see him at all?
No, I don't know that I have.
This kid is like, he's not a kid probably, he's a young adult, but he is a specialist, and that's all he does is the pommel horse, and he just is like a beast at it. And then on the sidelines was like meditating, doing a Rubik's cube, like doing he's just like seems very like a cool guy. So
he's just locked in.
He's just locked in.
Yeah.
So it's been fun.
Wow, that's I have not seen that. I'm surprised because it seems like that would get a lot of attention, but of course there's just so much going on.
There's so much going on. Yeah, I mean there's just so much.
Yeah, Noah Lyles with the track.
Yeah,
running.
Sherry Richardson, so many, incredible athletes.
Ledecky.
Katie Ledecky, yeah, she's a beast. I always like watching the diving too. I don't know any of the professional divers, but I don't know.
You're just like less splash better.
Yeah, yes.
I'm like, wow, there was not a lot of splash.
I love sitting on the couch, like drinking and eating crap and being like, oh my God, I cannot believe they messed it up like that. Like, yeah, I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and I'm
I would have done better.
on the
Yeah.
couch. No, yeah.
Well, it's funny now. There's the whole trend of like I didn't make it to the 2024 Olympics. They
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
call
yeah.
me up, and it's just like these massive like fails or flops, which
Yeah,
is funny.
yeah.
But actually, tying back into another University of Iowa topic, what are your thoughts on Caitlin Clark not getting called up?
I feel like, oof, this is controversial. Oh man. Okay.
You're about to make some friends and make some enemies.
Right, literally, yeah. I'm feeling like I'm sweating suddenly.
Yeah.
I think it was correct that she did not make it. She is, I think, was probably the greatest collegiate basketball player of all time. Like her skills are just really unmatched, and no one would deny that. But I also think being a professional athlete it's a different ball game. It's different. Like she has to grow those skills. She has to mature in her game, mature with the athletes that she's competing with every single day and working with on a team with. So I think it was correct.
In retrospect, do you think that's changed at all with the way that she's performing lately, and the Team USA maybe could have used her skill set?
There's no guarantees.
Okay,
like, what if
okay.
she went and didn't do well? I don't know. So
Sure, okay.
I feel like
You're
it's
sticking to your
okay.
guns.
I'm sticking to it. And you know what matters the most is there's going to be a Caitlin Clark Butter statue at the Iowa State Fair this year, and that's what matters the most. So
And nobody else has that.
nobody can take that away from
Yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah.
Like she is an Olympic medalist in my eyes for having that. She's
Sure,
a
yeah, yeah.
butter medalist. I mean, what could be better?
Yeah. University of Iowa is making sure that she's getting the recognition that
She's
she
getting
deserves.
the acclaim she needs.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I always find that interesting because, of course, she had a lot of eyes on her. It could have brought a
Yeah.
lot of attention to the sport just by nature of her being there. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I know that there's obviously the like warranted criticisms of being a rookie and whatnot. So
Yeah. I just love that people are more into women's basketball. We
Sure.
watched the final game
did.
together, which was really exciting. It was fun. Yeah, it's
I had
just
a
really,
previous guest that loved the result. I know you did not love the result.
I did not love. I know who you're talking about, Rachel. Because I like that girl, but
Yeah.
no, I did not like the end result. No, that was
watching the episodes. Yeah.
well. Listen, she probably knows that I did
Yeah.
not love the end result, but also they were going against like the greatest collegiate
Yeah.
team ever, pretty much. So for women's basketball, so that's the fact that they made it that far. The fact that they did as well as they did is a true accomplishment, and it's all about the whole team. It's the whole
Yep.
team. It's not just one player. So
Yep. Yeah. The Gamecocks definitely came in with a much more solid,
Yeah.
cohesive squad.
they did.
Great. Yeah. And I guess circling away from University of Iowa
Yeah.
and now back to Chicago.
Whoa.
So we are in Wicker Park. For
Right.
those that might not
Yes.
know where we
Yeah.
are currently recording from, but you actually grew up in somewhat in the neighborhood, Bucktown.
Yeah.
What was your experience growing up in the city, and then what is it like being here now as an adult?
It's pretty different. I only lived in the city until I was in early elementary school. So, like middle school, high school was all out in the burbs. But growing up, I loved it. I loved Bucktown at the time was a really immigrant heavy neighborhood. It's just always been a big neighborhood, like for immigrants and mostly like Polish, Cuban, and Puerto Rican immigrants. And it was a really beautiful thing, like to me, to grow up that way. And there was a church on my block that had like 4 or 5 masses every Sunday, and like 2 were in English, and then 1 was in Polish and 1 was in Spanish, and like that was the neighborhood, and it was really
They still do that here. Yeah.
yes, yeah, and I think
yeah.
that's like so important, and so yeah, it was a beautiful way to grow up. Honestly, we moved when the neighborhood was gentrifying because like we were in a 2-bedroom, and my brother and I were sharing a room, and that was not really sustainable for the future. So when we moved. The neighborhood has changed a lot. It's very
Oh, yeah.
different. So yeah, it's very, very different, but it's still an amazing place. And I mean, obviously I'm back right next door, so I really like it still, but also very different because I was like having lemonade stands and things like that. And now I'm, doing more adult activities
Yeah.
like bar hopping and things like that. So it's,
Mimosas.
yeah. So it's
Spike lemonade.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And that was, I imagine, like early 2000s.
yeah,
Okay.
probably.
And I imagine also your parents have their own thoughts when they come. Like, are they like, this is crazy? Or did they kind of see it coming at the same time?
I think they saw it coming just because I feel like when we moved, the neighborhood was shifting a lot at the time. So it was happening. So they come back now, and I think they think it's really fun. Like, I joke to them that we go to Lottie's all the time. And recently my dad was like, did you know your first time at Lottie's, you were like 3 years old? And I was like, what are you talking about?
There's
And
no
he was
way.
like, yeah, one time we like went for lunch. And I was like, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, it's in your DNA.
I'm day one fan of Lottie's
Yeah.
apparently. So yeah, it's kind of fun to like have those little
Hmm.
moments of connection with my parents about living here as an adult now. So
Do you think that they see this neighborhood and think like maybe they'd like to move back to the area, or they're
no.
set up where they are?
I think they're set up where they
Yeah.
are. They like the Western Burbs. They like LT Nation. No, they loved living here, and I don't think they necessarily. It was the best move for us at the time, just like schools wise, for both myself and my brothers. So, that was like I think the main factor for why we moved. But yeah, now they're established. Now they like it, and they work downtown, so they're in the city all the time. And,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I was wondering too. You mentioned Connor had autism. Was that also part of the factor, maybe? And certainly from an educational standpoint, I know that there's different resourcing depending on where you live, of course, in the city and then in the suburbs. But also from a community standpoint, like, did you think that was something? I mean, in the city now, a lot of people that have kids are in the city up until like the kids are like at the age where they go to school and then they like move to the suburbs. So I don't know, like, what did you think was like if you were thinking as your parents were with Connor having autism? Was that something that you think was like, okay, now we have to, like, that's the impetus or motivation for us to move?
I think it totally makes sense looking back. I mean, I think at the time I was a little kid, right? So I was like, why the heck are we moving? Like, I was upset.
Like, I love my bedroom.
Yeah, I'm like, I love sharing a room with a smelly boy. Yeah. No, so it definitely was. Our neighborhood school at the time was not, it was just really under-resourced and underfunded, I think. And it wasn't the best school, and it's not because of like the people who were, it's because of money coming into it. So my brother and I both would go there. I needed speech therapy like real bad.
Really?
So yes.
Did you have a stutter, or was it?
No, I just like couldn't speak. But then I also never stopped speaking. So it was like a whole thing. So yeah. So we would go, and we got great services there. But then during school hours, we went to a Montessori school that was private, and just how that one was set up, like you had to bring in your own support if you had a kid with disabilities. And my parents were like, we can't pay for school and pay for support. Like that just doesn't like
the math is not mathing.
The math is not mathing. So they were like, yeah, we gotta go to a place where the public schools have great supports in place for kids with disabilities. So, and it ended up being amazing. And Connor and I both went to LT, and he had an amazing education at LT and in their transitional program, like helping kids with disabilities just get some more life skills under their belts before they kind of go out into the world. And he gained so much knowledge through that. And yeah, so it was definitely the right move for our family at the time. And I'm sure it's very different now in different things, like different school systems in the city, but it was the right move for us, for sure.
What's the difference between you and your brother, age-wise?
Only 21 months, 20 and a half months, something like that. So
just shy of 2.
Yeah.
Just shy of 2 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Was that something as you were growing up that was like apparent to you that he had autism, or was that something that you kind of like as you grew older you were like, oh, like this is something that I need to like learn more about or kind of like adjust in a certain way?
I think because we were so close to age, like I don't remember a time before my brother certainly, and then also before him having autism. So it's, yeah, I don't know. It was very natural for me, and it was normal, and he's like my only sibling, so I don't have anything else to compare it to, I guess, necessarily. But my family's been amazing. I have an uncle with disabilities as well, so my family, I think, my dad's side of the family kind of grew up with obviously being involved with also the disability community. So it was, I'm sure, complicated and tricky at different times, but also to me, it was just a really natural, wonderful relationship. He is like my favorite person in the world, and he always has been. So I don't know. It's been a good thing. So
yeah, I like that too, because you mentioned you've been watching the show, and Mitch said something similar about Sammy.
Yeah.
Like about just how unifying it can be, and like really brings the family together and kind of gives like a common purpose in terms of just like laying that path forward as much as you can. And I'm sure that also played a role in like the connection that you had with Jackie to a certain extent because of Sammy, I imagine.
Yeah, that was really, it's always like, I don't know, for other people, I can just speak on myself, but I love meeting other people who have siblings with disabilities, because I feel like yeah, we kind of can relate, even if we don't know each other well. But it's like you just have a very, in my experience, like fierce, protective love of this person, and it's they need more support to let them shine in the world.
Hmm.
So I think other siblings can just kind of relate to that in a unique way. So it was really amazing, like meeting Jackie, finding that out,
Hmm.
meeting Sammy, who's like my literal role model in life. Like I look up to her, and yeah, her life is way more figured out than mine. So
She's
yeah,
a super Sammy for a reason. Yeah.
she's super Sammy for a reason. I like go to her for advice. It's legit. Yeah, she's 17. I should not
Yeah,
be doing
yeah.
that, but like she's got her stuff together more
Iconic.
than me. So yeah, so it was a cool bond. I feel like that I share with a lot of people, but yeah,
Hmm.
especially like getting to be so close with Jackie too.
Yeah, yeah, Jackie share that. Yeah, even with with others in that sense, where it's just a unique relationship that, of course, not everyone has.
Yeah.
Um, and then in regards to like your brother's growth, I know you mentioned that he's going to be at Misericordia and stuff. What does that look like in terms of like, will he be a part of maybe like an employment opportunity at the bakery, or is he going to be like more independent? Will he be, um, I don't know, continuing education in some way? Like, what does that look like for maybe those that are a little bit more interested?
Yeah, I think honestly what is so wonderful about Ms. is that it's really, they take people like, I don't know how to word this correctly. It's just like a very singular thing. Like everyone is unique and different. And
Mm-hmm.
so how they support them is how they need to be supported. And it's not a cookie cutter for all the residents there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when he moves in the first 30 days, they're going to take time to kind of have him test out a lot of different jobs, a lot of different um, just like skill development things, different
Mm-hmm.
classes, different groups, different day programming, and see what he likes best, what works best for everybody involved. And he loves to do stuff. That kid is busy, so I'm sure will like end up with a really full plate and have a lot of fun there. I think honestly, and
Mm-hmm.
it'll be a different relationship certainly because now when I see him, I'm going back to my parents, and sometimes I'm there just to hang out, but other times I'm there because he needs a ride someplace or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now the relationship is going to be different because it's a lot more on our terms and when we both want to see each other now. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm fully prepared for him to ditch me now and just be like, I'm too cool. I've got
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
going on. But I'm also really excited to see that and see his independence flourish.
And he's going to be in the city.
It is
So
going to be in the city.
I imagine that
Yeah.
also changes the dynamic.
Yeah, it'll be nice. It'll be nice. He's gonna be up in Jefferson Park, so not super super close, but technically on the blue line.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's pretty nice.
The boogie down blue.
The boogie
Yeah.
down blue, yeah,
And of course, Chicago is very vast, has a lot of different people from walks of life, but also
yeah.
has a lot of different merchandise and items from different walks of life as well.
Oh, it
Yeah,
does.
so I've heard
Yeah.
that Facebook Marketplace is prime real estate for finding deals and securing maybe some items that you wouldn't find elsewhere. And I've heard that you're pretty good at doing so. Is that rumor on base, would you say?
I have a problem, is what I would say.
Okay.
Actually, I actually look at Facebook Marketplace maybe every single day, maybe twice a day, and
Mm.
I'm just perusing. I'm just constantly looking for stuff I don't need but want. Yeah, I've gotten like dressers there. I've all my dining chairs. I get books there all the time. I'm in two
Mm.
book clubs, which is fun. So always like scouring for books. Yeah. I get really random stuff there, and I do it at weird times. Like sometimes, like one time I met somebody in their alley at like 10 p.m. and I was texting a friend like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but just so you know, this is my
Yeah,
location. And they were
yeah.
like, can you not? And I'm like, I can't help it. I love Facebook
A deal,
Marketplace.
yeah.
It's a deal. Like they're giving stuff away there.
A
Seriously,
lot of people are worried about like their TikTok or Instagram algorithms taking up too much of their time.
it's
Like
Facebook
it's the
Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace
Yeah,
algorithm.
that is my number one form of social
Yeah.
media, no doubt. Like,
That reminds me a lot of the there was this SNL skit. Saturday Night Live did the skit where they uh, kind of made a parody of people who are on Zillow a lot, where
yeah,
they're like, "Oh, did you see like this 3 bedroom, 2 bath in like X place for
yeah,
only like $500,000 or whatever?" And then they're like, "That is such a good deal." And then they're like hitting people up, like
yeah.
it's like the same thing in a way where it's just like, "Oh, let me just see what's up. Like maybe I
Yeah.
can find something." So are you looking at just items more generally, or like do you have them? like a list of things that you're like a short list?
Just more general, in general terms. Yeah, I do. I love like mid-century modern furniture, so I always
Okay.
like to see what's going on there. Books, definitely. I also really like art, so I do think a lot of times I will like take a screenshot of something and send it to somebody who I know is gonna check me and be like, relax. And I'm like, look at this deal. I'm the sketch. Like my bit is real life is that bit. Yeah, it's really bad. So and yeah, no, I have there's art in under my bed that I don't even have space to put up, but I'm like, I had to buy it because it was a good deal. And
I would be losing money if I didn't buy this.
Yes, that is like my
joke,
justification. I'm like, I can give this on to future generations. Like I can share that. Yeah, no, I just love stuff.
The people that you message, are they people that you know are like a little bit more conservative with their purchasing habits? Or is it like, is it just really close friends?
Mostly it's really close friends who just know that I need to stop buying stuff.
Oh, okay.
So it's mostly they're like, you don't actually need it. Like I kind of, I need to be talked off the ledge a lot.
Like,
so
don't buy this like antique portrait painting of some like French mademoiselle.
Pretty much. Yeah. No, I bought some painting recently and I told Jackie and Vic afterwards, and Vic was like, I'm gonna kick your butt. Like, I cannot believe you bought this. And then Jackie was like, come on. And I'm like, I know. I can't be stopped. It's a problem.
I can't stop, won't stop.
I can't stop, won't stop. Yeah.
That's funny. Are you, I guess from like a Facebook Marketplace standpoint, you said you purchased a lot of books there.
Yeah.
I guess what's the reasoning there? Is it just that a lot of people like go through a book and then just sell it? Like,
yeah, honestly, I am definitely not as voracious of a reader as Jackie or a lot of other people I know, but I do like to read, and I also kind of like my book as a little trophy for myself. I'm like, I did it. I read it. So like,
I get that.
Even though like I check books out from the library all the time, but then eventually I'm like, I want a copy. And a lot of the times, like these books on Facebook Marketplace, like people just bought because something probably just came out. They didn't want to wait in line or at the library to get it. So they buy it, they read it once, and then they sell it for $5. It's like a heck of a deal.
Do they annotate in them or like usually not?
Mostly no. No, I have like pristine books that I bought for $5. So if anyone,
hidden gem,
I'm like, I just have to, plug.
Do you sell?
No, actually, I definitely need to. There's like so much stuff like I should probably resell and stuff. Yeah, I will at some point. I bet. Yeah.
Just like a haul, especially like if you consider moving or something of the sort.
Yeah. Just any. I think I did when I was moving out of my parents' place. Actually, I think I might have sold something.
Just one thing.
Just one thing. Yeah. I love stuff. I can't get rid of it. So I definitely might be featured on an episode of Hoarders sometime soon. But
I'll be on the lookout. Yeah.
You might have to come over and help me out.
This will be your resume. Like if people need just some evidence, I'll submit this.
Yeah.
But you said you are a reader and you are in book clubs.
Yeah.
So how many and what are they about?
2 book clubs. One of them was like a friend of a friend connection, and I love that one. That's what got me started. And it's just like kind of anything. Like we don't have a specific theme or topic we stick with, but it's just other women, same age group in Chicago, coming together. We all like to read, and it's been really, really fun, and getting to meet new people who I wouldn't have met otherwise, and just talk about books, because sometimes I want to talk about something I just read, and if no one else read it, like no one cares. Yeah. So it's really nice to.
So it's the same book.
Same book. Okay. We all read the same book, and then the second book club was started by one of my really good friends from middle school. So and it's kind of the same thing. Like we all read the same book, talk about it. So yeah, it's been good. It's been getting me back into reading. I think during college I was like reading textbooks, so I didn't want to read for fun because I'm like no. So yeah, it's been fun to like discover that again.
Yeah. What is the decision-making process for selecting a book? Like, is it just whoever speaks the loudest, or is there a rotation?
There's different, like, we do it differently. Normally, at the one book club, it's like whoever's hosting can pick the book, or they pick 3 books, and then we all vote on one, which is fun. Okay. And then the other book club, we all write down, like, a book we want to read, and then, like, put it in a hat, and then, like, pick it out of a hat.
Okay.
So, yeah. It's fun.
Each book club has their own,
Has their own style, has their own, and that's great.
And you you actually like physically holding the book? Are you a Kindle reader or an audiobook at all?
I do like audiobooks. I love a memoir like on audiobook if the author read it, because I just think that's a really great way to
that makes sense.
see a different way to have their feelings portrayed.
Like a Michelle Obama.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
I heard that one was really good as an
It's
audiobook.
really good. Becoming is really good. Her
Yeah.
voice is really soothing, and it just really like
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
me feel like at peace with the world. So yeah, that one was good. And yeah, that's really fun. But then otherwise, I do like a physical book.
Mm-hmm.
So I like a paper cut. What can I say?
What kind of genres are you into?
Mostly fiction, but I'll read really anything, honestly, if it sounds interesting. Normally, I don't read stuff I've never heard of before. Like, normally someone said it one time and they said it was really good, and then I'll, like, remember that and be like, okay, I'll read it.
Okay.
But otherwise, yeah, I'll read it. I'll read anything.
So you're primarily like word of mouth.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, sometimes I stalk Goodreads, see what's up there. Honestly, Jackie's book account, and then my other best friend Caitlin also has a book account. So both of them I definitely go to for advice. They're both.
Do you know? Obviously, Jackie's is at jybooks.com or at jy_books.
True.
Do you know Caitlin's? We can plug hers.
Caitlin's, I'm pretty sure is. Oh my God, I'm a really bad friend. I don't know. It's like flirty, nerdy, and thriving, maybe.
We can always plug it afterwards.
We might have to plug it after. Yeah. It's great though. They're both voracious readers, which is cool. So, and they always have good tips on what to read next. And they've both helped me get out of reading slumps by like recommending new things, which has been great. So
why? Okay, for some people that are like, I'd like to get into reading, but I like can't.
Yeah.
And you said you got out of the reading slump just more generally of like you used to read and then you just kind of stopped and now you do. What do you have any advice for someone that like wants to become a reader?
I would say start with audiobooks maybe, like especially if you listen to podcasts just in your day-to-day life. I think audiobooks are a great jumping off point, and I mean you continue on with them for sure. But then also something that's fun, like something that you look forward to reading. Like it doesn't have to be the next great American novel. It can just be something that you're going to have fun with, honestly. Something like a rom-com or some kind of fiction that has adventure in it that you're really interested in, or fantasy, or I don't know, just anything that's really fun. But definitely a good, like a funny audiobook, I would say too. It's a great way to start.
Funny audiobook.
Yeah. Like a memoir by a comedian. I always like those.
Interesting. That's like a sub genre.
Yeah, it's very niche, but I think it's a good way to start. Like, just get into it.
Do you have any that you recommend, like a Tina Fey or Amy Poehler? Like
I've done both of theirs. I really like them. I really like Trevor Noah's. His was also very informative, like growing up in apartheid and everything. His was really I felt like I learned a lot, but also he is really funny. So even if he's talking about something serious, he has a way to just make it come across more palatable, I think. So yeah. Mindy Kaling, I love any of Mindy Kaling's stuff. Those are just kind of like fun little quips. Amy Poehler's was definitely really good.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
That's also interesting too I know Trevor Noah is of course South African, like you said, and I imagine from his own like personal background, there's opportunity to like introduce levity into that in a very like tactful manner, because it's probably, well, we know that it is a very charged topic and subject.
Certainly. Yeah. And he does it, I think in a way that's just digestible, and you're learning and understanding his perspective, his family's perspective, but also like you're kind of having fun with it. Not like you're not having fun with the subject matter, but like
I love that.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, amazing. No, like definitely not, but it's like he kind of takes you along for the ride, and that's fun. And the way he like does it, and the way he brings you in, I think. So I've also seen his stand up with my whole family, and we're all fans.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Here in Chicago?
Yes, at the Chicago Theater. So
how was it?
He was really good. So yeah. This is like a Trevor Noah podcast now, actually. I'm just plugging him.
Yeah.
It's great. So
when was that? Was that like before COVID?
No, it was, I think this past fall, maybe.
Oh.
Like almost a year ago, maybe. Sounds right?
So I imagine, you said you read his, or you listened to his audiobook.
Yes.
But it seems like maybe your family's also like a fan of him, if they also attended.
Yeah, my mom was a really big fan of his show when he was hosting The Daily Show, and then My dad just likes comedy and stand-up comedy, and then my aunt and I listened to the audiobook together. So it was the four of us who went, and he was really, yeah, he was good. It was fun. So a fun family outing. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Are either of your parents, like, did you get reading from either of them, do you think?
My dad does not read books, but he reads constantly, like different news articles, magazines,
Oh,
newspapers, stuff like that. And then my mom is a huge, huge reader. So yeah, she normally also is a really good source of like where I get book recommendations from, because she also, yeah.
Maybe she should start her own Instagram.
Honestly, she'd be good at it. Yeah, I think she would. Wow, everyone's a book influencer, and I love it because it
Yeah.
makes people interested in reading, and that's important.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Reading is, yeah, I've also started to get more into reading.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, you've kind of been, what started you on your journey?
I think just also disconnecting. Like,
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of content, either through podcasts or like watching videos, but I wanted to um, take in or like consume information that was more intentional.
Yeah.
And with a book, like, I mean, you kind of have to be more intentional to
Yeah.
keep like either a narrative or like convey a particular message
Right.
in a text form for, I don't know, 300 pages or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And there's just so much great literature that I feel like I wasn't exposed to,
Yeah.
like all the way through, even through college. So I've been doing a lot more of just like historical like reading.
Yeah.
I actually just finished Crime and Punishment,
Whoa.
which was an excellent read. I really liked it. Yeah.
That's a big one.
Have you read it?
No. No.
Yeah, it was really, really good by Dostoevsky.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's been really good. Like I've been kind of switching my genres. Like I don't know if it's just like more common with guys, but I feel like nonfiction is just like what I kind of find myself like gravitating to for some reason.
There's some comic that like has a whole bit on like getting every dad like a World War II book, and I do like
Yeah.
I think that is a thing for some reason.
Yeah.
I like nonfiction a little bit too, but yeah, maybe not as much as
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I actually think that that's partly like this, what's the word I'm looking for? Like made up narrative that like fiction books are childish, and that's like very much not the case.
right.
And in some cases, fiction books are more real than nonfiction books.
Yeah.
In the sense that like there's something really real or true about
Relatable.
Yes,
Yeah.
about like like it's like a meta story, right?
Yeah.
Like like kids love Harry Potter, not because they think, well, maybe depending on how old you are,
Right.
maybe you do think at some point that like Hogwarts is real,
Yeah.
But like even if once you're older, like you appreciate the story not because you think Hogwarts is real, but because you know that the battle of you growing up and fighting evil is
Yeah.
real, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so there's something about fiction that can convey maybe a truth that's more real than sometimes like a historical fiction or like a historical nonfiction book can be.
Right.
And that's why obviously like Star Wars is so popular,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings is so popular, right?
Yeah.
Because you get these stories that touch on really real subjects,
Yeah.
but they put like a layer in between that doesn't necessarily make them less real.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've been trying to, like, I read a lot of nonfiction, and just like philosophical or theological or political books. But I was like, well, Dostoevsky is like one of the most renowned authors of all time.
Right.
And Crime and Punishment is, of course, also considered one of the greatest books of all time.
Right.
So obviously this fiction book is not like a childish book, you
No,
know, like
yeah.
it's got a lot to convey. So
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Like I actually like flew through it. I feel like I think in
That's awesome.
2 weeks I finished it, and
Wow.
it's like it's like almost 500 pages,
That's-
which
yeah.
for me is like a big deal.
I think that's a big book for sure. Yeah.
For Jackie, it's like an evening.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
like 2 chapters for
Yeah.
her. But yeah, no, I think that's a big deal. And I love what you were just saying about that too. I think it gives people a chance to see themselves in someone else, to see their life represented in some way. And right, it's not like a literal play-by-play exactly how you live your life, but it is a chance, yeah, just to feel seen and feel heard. And that's what's so important, I think, about a lot of media. So
Yeah, I think that's true. Where obviously, like stories about Abraham Lincoln or Ulysses S. Grant or I don't know, Plato or Socrates, like that. Those are all great. But there's also like a reason why our culture like kind of revolves around whether it's Harry Potter or Superman or like they're symbolic of something.
yeah,
And obviously they're not quote unquote like literally true,
right.
but they embody something that we know is true of like there's something about Batman that we like like.
Yeah.
There's something about Wonder Woman that we like,
Yeah.
right? Where they portray something about ourselves or about human nature.
Yeah.
And so the fiction kind of can get to that a little bit cleaner, where
Yeah.
sometimes like a nonfiction can muddy up the waters where like someone's personality can
Right.
kind of like you associate more with the person
Yeah.
or the circumstances that they're in instead of like getting at like, no, this whole world of, I don't know, the Tolkien's writings of Lord of the Rings, they like portray of like, no, you can't just live in the Shire. You actually need to go to Mordor and
Yeah.
like beat evil, right? Or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
Yeah. I feel like it's a chance for you to get to know yourself better, which is cool.
Yeah. And that's obviously like never ending.
Right. Yeah.
That's what we're endeavoring on this podcast,
That's
actually.
a forever journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's you're solving it right here.
Yeah,
I feel like, oof, I know myself now.
You're like a Rubik's Cube and like
Oh my gosh, and you're just
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you could put me in a room with a Rubik's Cube and I don't think I would ever solve it. So
No, that's not for me. No, that's like really not. Yeah.
have you ever watched Pursuit of Happiness? Will Smith?
Yes.
I mean,
Fantastic movie.
Phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rubik's Cube played big role in that.
It did.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Can you imagine being in like the generation where the Rubik's Cube comes out? Like people are like, is this solvable?
Mind blown.
Like
Yeah.
I think it took like a month of like people not knowing if they could solve something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
When it first dropped, people were like, how are we gonna
Yeah.
like, there has to be a way, obviously.
Right.
Because it's not like it has infinite possibilities.
Yeah.
It's just, how can we
My brain just does not work like that ever also. So like puzzles and things like that, like I can find a corner piece and that's about it.
Yeah.
Like my brain does not work like
You're
that.
a little bit more of like a creative or like hands-on.
Sure, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I'm always thoroughly impressed when anyone can do anything like that, can solve a Rubik's Cube. I'm like, you should run the whole world.
Yeah.
Like you should be in charge of everything.
You're
I
in
think.
charge of your life.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yes.
If you can
Yeah.
memorize the algorithms and everything.
Yeah.
So we were talking about stories. I actually wanted to get your opinion on something.
Oh, wow.
This is, for some, a historical fact.
Okay. Oh.
For others, maybe not a historical fact.
Oh.
And this is where I wanted to get your opinion on story and reality and whatnot.
Okay.
Do you think that there was a great flood?
A great flood?
Flood, yes. A flooding of the world.
Like Noah's Ark?
Any flood.
Okay.
Do you think there was a big flood that eliminated vast swaths of the human population at a moment of human history?
Listen, I am not a woman in STEM. So I don't know that I can speak on this topic thoroughly in an educated manner. So
Given what you know.
Oof. I feel like suddenly I know nothing. Wow. I mean, sure. Yeah, maybe. Because, I don't know.
You were not expecting this.
I was
You're
not
like,
expecting this. No.
This was not on the
This is
the
not
study guide.
on study guide
Yeah.
for sure. I feel like I need to go back and take like another history class like in third grade. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, the climate be changing. Climate change is real. And I'm sure there's been a lot of different evolution.
So you're open to it, you would say.
Maybe. Am I supposed to be? I don't know what the right answer is actually.
There is. That's what I was.
What's your answer?
I think there was.
Okay.
But I think there's
We often disagree, so I don't know if that's
Yeah,
my
right.
answer.
Well, I think there's also the reason why I bring it up too is like culturally, a lot of different parts of the world will say that there was a flood to
Okay.
some extent.
Okay.
But I think even from what's the word I'm looking for? From a geographical perspective, there's evidence that seems to suggest that there was a great flood, even
Yeah.
within the Americas, like based on the soil and whatnot. So I was just curious if that was something you had ever given thought to or not.
Wow. Now I'm going to go look
Yeah.
stuff up, though. Like, I'm going to go home and, like, instead of Facebook Marketplace,
Yeah.
I'm going to go, like, do a little deep dive on this.
I had like my own little period where I was like, was there was Atlantis real? Like, do you think Atlantis was real?
Whoa.
At any point in time, do you think there was a city named Atlantis? On ground or underwater? It's just at any point.
I don't know. Well, I'm, like, really... I mean, I feel like it's kind of fun to believe in stuff like that.
But it's
Whether it's factual...
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. Like, factually.
I don't know factually. Has that been
Well, I
proven
think
at all?
like a lot of people obviously have opinions on like if it is or isn't, and like I
Yeah.
don't think it's one thing that's like certain, like absolutely. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like Bigfoot. Like, do you think Bigfoot is or isn't real?
No, I don't think
I don't
so.
think it. Okay.
Yeah.
I actually I'll have a guest on at some point in the future who is an ardent Bigfoot believer,
That's beautiful.
and
I love that.
I'll invite them to elaborate on
Okay.
their point. But going back to Atlantis, like
Yeah.
Atlantis, real, not real.
I feel like I
You got to
have
make a decision
to.
right now. You win $100. Which do you guess?
Yes.
Okay. I would also say yes.
Okay.
I actually think it's off the western coast of Africa.
Okay. That sounds good.
Dragons.
Dragons.
Were dragons
Do
real?
you believe in the Loch Ness monster?
No. That one's been proven false.
Oh, come on.
The iconic image of the Loch Ness monster
Yeah.
has been disproven by the person that took the picture. They said they made it up. Yeah.
Wow.
So Loch Ness. Also, it's like in a lake, and you can like easily search the lake.
That's true.
It's like somewhere in like the Northern Isles or Scotland or something like that.
It's in Scotland, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Something like that. But
Yeah.
like dragons.
Dragons. No.
No.
What about dinosaurs? I'm just kidding.
Well, no, I'm just kidding. Although I don't know if you've heard, there's like this theory that dinosaurs were maybe not scaled because we don't really know. Like obviously that we have a history of like their bones, but we don't necessarily know if they were feathered or not. And so they may have actually not been like reptilian in nature. They might have actually had like feathers.
Like they were running around like big chickens?
Yes, like big chickens.
Oh my gosh,
Like
big chickens.
that is actually a theory. Now I don't know
Yeah.
to what extent it has grounding, but I think it depends on like atmospheric, like if the scientific evidence of the atmosphere changes in correlation to the period with which they believe that the bones existed in,
Wow.
then that would change their belief of the flesh and external appearance of the dinosaurs in that period, and they may have not actually been reptilian.
That is so interesting. I feel like we should go to the Field Museum.
Yeah,
Just-
or we should just watch like Jurassic Park.
And both
They're both, like,
incredibly,
yeah.
great pieces of information.
Historical, yeah,
Right,
yeah.
historical information.
Well, Sue, we do have Sue in Chicago.
We do have to. Didn't something happen? Didn't they move her though? Didn't
Really?
I felt like there was some big controversy. They were like taking her away for a second. Maybe not. I hope not, because
I'm gonna need to speak to my alderman about that.
Yeah, yeah, because Sue is a great lady.
Yeah, yeah. We definitely need to keep
Yeah.
Sue in Chicago.
We need Sue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well,
Team Sue.
we're coming up on time.
Yes.
Is there anything that you would like to either plug, shout out, anything that I didn't get to question before we wrap up?
I think I blacked out for this whole interview, so I don't know what we talked about, but
Yeah.
I'm sure we talked about fun things. I know I had fun. Thank you for
Yeah.
creating this space for your friends to
Yeah, of
come on
course.
and chat, and I always learn something from you, whether I like it or not.
It's
I
like
learn something.
like a little tidbit that I just throw in there,
Yeah.
just like a little bit.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that about our talks. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure, and obviously I love like learning more about the guests and just sharing this. I'd like to hear if anyone has strong thoughts
Yeah.
on Atlantis, the Great Flood, dragons.
I'd love people to like send me some links.
Yeah.
Like right now what I'm learning is I need to go take some courses. I need to study up. So
When
yeah.
I asked Jackie, her typical response is like, I just feel like that's not my business. She's like,
She taught me that line, and it is something that
Yeah.
I use frequently, and I probably should have
Yeah.
used it today. But yeah.
So just, curiosity did kill a cat. So
I am nosy though. So
I do be wanting to know things.
I love to know.
So-
I love to know stuff and do nothing with it. I just like to have
Yeah,
it.
just-
have that knowledge.
Well, it's always practical for trivia.
Are you on a trivia team? I feel like you should be.
No, I'm not. Actually, fun fact.
Yeah.
Trivia stands for 3 roads, where 3 roads cross. Tri is 3, and then via is like crossing.
yeah.
So it's where the 3 roads meet.
Wow. Do
What-
you have any fun facts you want to get off your chest really quick?
Oh, a fun fact. I feel like I usually do have a fun fact, but not off the top of my head. I feel like I just used my trivia fun fact.
You did.
Yeah.
That was a really good fun fact. So yeah, I liked that one for sure.
Maybe I could do like a special episode just.
I
with
would.
fun
I
facts.
would love to hear all the fun facts you've got up there.
Or for my next guest.
Yeah.
So this episode will not air before I interview with the next one.
Okay.
Or before I interview whoever the next guest is.
Yeah.
I'll ask them if they have any fun facts up their sleeve.
Could be a new
So
segment on the pod.
Yeah, I'll put them up in like a little hot
Okay.
seat.
I like it.
Yeah.
Hot seat. Fun
Hot seat
fact.
question.
Yeah.
I try to ask like at the end of the podcast, but
Yeah.
anyway, without further digression,
Yes.
I think it's a good place to wrap up.
I think so too.
Thanks to all of you that have made it to the end of the episode with, again, my fellow Instagram influencer, Maddy B. Be sure to follow Chow Down in Chi-Town. I'll be sure to link that.
Wow.
And hope to see you in the next episode. Thanks
Thanks.
and take care.
Thank you.
Ciao.